Now, a lot of people have pointed out the most bizarre presidential election race that we have seen in American history, where one of the candidates, namely Kamala Harris, hasn't posted any policy. So up till now, I mean, today is 12th of August 2024, so maybe in the future this will change, but up till now, if you go on her website, you will only find things about Donald Trump and how to donate. But there's almost nothing on policy, which is very bizarre. And one of the reasons that people speculate this is the case is that either the policy is really bad, so it will affect donors. Basically, what the campaign may actually be trying to achieve is to use the media blitz to fill the airwaves and to get as many donations as possible before announcing the policy. Or they generally can't have any policy that the people would support. I mean, they may have policy that the elites would like, but that's not necessarily what the voters would like. And we get to notice this, that when she does talk a little bit about policy, so again, it's not on her website, at least not until now, but like, when she goes in public and talks about policy, it makes absolutely no sense, because it's almost like she's pretending that she's not part of the current administration and is just like the revolutionary. She's the outsider trying to get in. So, like, here you have one example about tips, right? So, even the media is basically saying that, oh, she is borrowing Trump's idea. She is stealing Trump's idea, you mean? And why exactly does she even need to do this? Like, she is the vice president right now. Like right now, she can implement this if she wanted. But especially when you're looking at what's happening with the current administration, like Biden's IRS slapped over plan to dip into tip jars, right? So people are already struggling to survive. Now, you need to understand why this is quite important for the actual American way of life. Because if you're a European, you just don't get it. Like most countries here in Europe, either we don't tip, or if we do tip, it's kind of optional. But in the United States, they have like an entire unhinged culture revolved around tipping. It's getting so bad that I even saw videos of places where you're supposed to serve yourself, like fast food joints. And they, despite the fact that there's no waiter there, despite the fact that there's no one to serve you and you just have like a touch screen where you're ordering food and then a tray is being pushed, there's like a little box for tips. If you order food, in some cases you gotta tip on the website for the actual restaurant, and then you gotta tip for the delivery guy. Like, tipping in the United States is kind of mandatory, like it's socially imposed. First of all, like, they're shaming you with the fact that, hey, you know, like, they do pay taxes for tips, so you kind of, like, if you're eating out, you gotta tip. And it's also the fact that companies are basically paying minimum wage for a lot of workers, because they will think that, oh, well, the customer is not only going to buy food from us, but is also going to pay the worker by tipping them. So it kind of puts the onus on the customer to pay the wage and to tip, right? And if you don't tip, people get really upset in the United States. Now, if you were to remove the taxes from tipping, then you don't feel any shame. Then you don't feel any guilt, because it's none of your business anymore. You know, like, okay, well, why would I tip you, right? Because right now the argument is like, well, I gotta pay taxes, so if you don't tip me, right? But now it's like, okay, well, you don't pay taxes, so shut the fuck up. Go to your boss and ask for a raise. In some places, depends on the state, but there are places where you have like mandatory taxes because like the government doesn't know how much you're getting in tips, right? So they assume that you're getting a flat amount, which is averaged by the local industry, and then they will charge you from that. So it's really disgusting. Like, taxing people for tips is, in my opinion, a practice that shouldn't exist in the first place. But it is what it is, you know, like modern governments, they tax every time they can get. So Trump comes up with the idea, and now immediately Harris is like, oh yeah, I'm going to borrow that. It's like, why are you borrowing that? Just implement it. You're the vice president. Or maybe like, you know, she doesn't get along well with Joe Biden. Maybe this is the explanation. Like, she desperately tried to fix tipping, but like Joe Biden was like, yeah, like the horse high on ivermectin. I know, like, I really like this joke. I'm never going to let it go. It's one of my favorite jokes. So, another thing that she does is that she promises to go tough on border security. So the totally not border czar is going to all of a sudden go tough on border security. What? why isn't she doing this now? Like, you see what I mean? It makes absolutely no sense from an outsider looking in. This is baffling. This is just baffling. Like, why is it that she can't go tough on border security now? Like, does she not have the power? Does she not have the support of the Democratic Party? Does she not have the political strength in order to go tough on border security? Like, what's stopping her? And even then, right? Like, even if you were to say, well, I mean, she's just the vice president, she doesn't have the power. Like, sure, but she can have the rhetoric, right? Like, we noticed that when Trump was having, like, strong rhetoric against the border, like, less people came in. But, like, why really now, in the last moment, she's now talking about border security? Like, it's going to take a couple more days, and we're going to see her with a red MAGA hat going on the rallies and just taking away Trump's platform. Like, this is beyond ridiculous. Her speeches, I have seen it, the same speech, 3 different rallies. I guess she changed the accent, so there was that. I'm telling you, like, I have watched many American politicians in the past. I have watched Hillary Clinton's campaign. I have watched Barack Obama's campaign. I have watched Donald Trump's campaign. Bernie Sanders, even though he didn't go for the presidency, he did go into the primaries. So I have never seen a politician so ill-prepared like Kamala Harris. I generally don't know what they're doing. Like, either they know something we don't, maybe like some election fortification, so like all of this doesn't matter, or maybe they're just trying to fish for donations. But honestly, like, from a scale of 1 to 10, this is like a 2 or a 3. I don't know, like, the team that they're hiring. Like, surely they must have PR teams, and they must have, like, people that write speeches, which all politicians do. What on earth are they doing? The only explanation that I can have is that the policies that they want to implement are something that only the elites like, and the public want, so they just can't talk about them. And they're just, like, using Donald Trump's talking points. But the thing is, like, people actually believe that Donald Trump will implement this. Like, people actually believe that Donald Trump is going to cut taxes on the tips, that he's going to be harder on border security, right? So, like, when she takes those talking points, people don't believe that she will do it because, like, she's part of the current administration. She's not even, like, a Democrat runner-up, right? Like, let's say, if AOC would have said it, then you can say, well, yeah, but, like, AOC wasn't president up until now or was associated with the presidency in any way. So, sure, you know, but like, you have this person which was the vice president. And then you also realize that in order to achieve these things, it's not something that the president themselves can achieve them. No, you need, like, the support of the entire Democratic Party. Because many of these things have to get passed through legislation. They have to get passed through the Senate and through the House. So you need the entire support, right? Why is it that if the Democrats genuinely want to achieve this, if they're so interested in achieving this, why don't they just impeach President Biden? Like, another thing that a lot of people don't understand is, like, why do they accuse Nancy Pelosi of running a coup, right? Like, a lot of leftists are like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, the thing is, like, in the American Constitution, there is an article, I'm explaining this for Europeans, there is an article that guarantees, in the event that the president is not fully there, like he's going through cognitive decline, or, you know, like, anything that can objectively make it seem like he's incapable of performing his duties, then he can be impeached. Like, he's forced to step down and the vice president becomes the president. But this article is meant to be used objectively. Like, you don't actually threaten the president with it. You don't go to the president and you say, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to use the article. No, like, if you think that the president is incapable of performing his job, you do the article, period. No discussions, no ifs, no buts, right? So what they're doing with this political machination, where they're going to the president and they're saying, hey, if you don't step down out of the race, we're going to use the article. Yeah, that can actually be interpreted as blackmail. But of course, I don't expect the actual authorities to investigate the senators, because we know that leftists only freak out when the president is not responsible for committing crimes while exercising his duty, right? But when the senators commit crimes while exercising their duty, that's another conversation for another time. So, this is what a lot of people are saying, right? Like, this is why they're accusing it of a coup, because it's like, you shouldn't be, like, as a political party to go after your candidate like that, right? So, if they actually do have the ability to do this, right? Like, let's say they genuinely want to abolish tipping and taxes on tipping, and they want to be stronger on the border. And Kamala Harris really wants this, but like Joe Biden doesn't. Like, why can't they, the same way they convinced him to drop out of the race, why can't they persuade him to also sign these two legislations into law? Interesting question, isn't it? Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will find you in the comment section. Take care.